Banerjee will contest the bypolls from Bhabanipur on the 30th of September. Counting will happen on 3rd of October. She had lost Nandigram. She had 6 months' time to get herself elected from another constituency.
Well, it's official now. Mamata Banerjee is going to be contesting from her traditional seat in Bhabanipur bypolls. This is because first she lost in Nandigram, and also the sitting MLA, which was handpicked by Mamata Banerjee, has actually resigned. I am Pallavi Ghosh, and my one take this week asks the question that after Nandigram and along the lines of those elections, is Bhawanipur also going to be a prestige battle both for Mamata Banerjee as well as for the BJP? Now, Bhabanipur has been the bastion of the left at one point of time, and Mamata Banerjee actually contested and won from there. And you know, the seat where she contests from is where her home is, and that is a very familiar and famous address in the streets of Kolkata. Bhawanipur has always traditionally been a Mamata Banerjee bastion, and in fact, when you go there, you find lines of TMC workers around the tea shops and Mishti Dokan, where they are huddled in what Bengalis call adda or a chit-chat session. Therefore, it came as a surprise when she decided to abandon Bhawanipur, which is a sure seat for her, and go in for Nandigram, which was also considered to be a sure seat for her, because remember, the genesis of Mamata Banerjee as a figure in the West Bengal politics began with her agitation from Shingur and Nandigram. So it came as a bit of a shock, not just for the Trinamool Congress, to many of the political observers, when she actually lost that seat to Suvendu Adhikari, her one-time aide and supporter, by a slim margin. We've heard of and seen all the politics over Nandigram, where the Trinamool Congress seems to be alleging that things were actually wrong. It was an election which was not free and fair. But even as that Nandigram elections are mired in court cases, the bypoll results were announced, the elections were announced, and therefore it came as no surprise when she decided to go back to Bhawanipur. Now, the question I'm asking this week is that is it going to be a prestige battle? Well, if you're going to compare it to a Nandigram elections, certainly not, because a win seems to be a foregone conclusion as far as Bhawanipur goes. And the second more important thing is that it's going to always be seen as her biting the dust. While she came back to power in West Bengal with a resounding margin, defeated the BJP in a high-stakes prestige battle for the BJP, the fact that she lost in a seat which should have been hers, if you go by her calculation and her politics, Nandigram, is something which is always going to come back to hurt and haunt the Trinamool Congress as well as Mamata Banerjee. So at that level, every time the Trinamool Congress attacks the BJP or the Prime Minister, you often hear those pot shots coming in from the BJP leaders who say that she's actually a Chief Minister who's not even won her seat. Her defeat in Nandigram is certainly going to go down in political history as one seat which should have ideally been hers given her politics, but how she lost out to Suvendu Adhikari, and therefore that smirk and that smugness on the face of Suvendu Adhikari to a very great extent, I guess, is justified. But we're going to bring the focus back to Bhawanipur. Almost certain now that the Congress doesn't want to put up a candidate, so it's going to be a cakewalk for Mamata Banerjee. The reason why the Congress doesn't want to put up a fight is because of one, increased bonhomie between the TMC and the Congress, and second, this is now going to be showcased as an instance of opposition unity where smaller fights or fights are being given up for the sake of the larger agenda of defeating the BJP. Now, Bhawanipur per se, I don't think it's going to be a question now about whether she's going to win or not. It's going to be about how much margin she wins with. And if the BJP is going to put up a strong fight against her, you know, I guess in the private circles, the BJP also knows that it's going to be easy for Mamata Banerjee to win from Bhawanipur. That's been her traditional seat. But you know, a political party also needs to send out that message that we are not scared of fights. BJP is certainly not one of those political parties. Whether it's a local election, whether it's a municipal election, whether it's elections which is seen to be a foregone conclusion, they always put up a fight. And sometimes it works. I mean, who would have ever thought that Amethi, which is considered to be a Gandhi family bastion, which actually would fall into the hands of a Smriti Irani. She consistently went there, she contested again and again, and finally she won the seat of Amethi, and that's a blow which I think Rahul Gandhi and the Congress are not going to get over in a hurry. Similar is the case with Mamata Banerjee vis-a-vis Nandigram. And when we come back to Bhawanipur, I think that's the message which the BJP wants to send out to the politics, as also to its cadre and all the political observers, that we are not scared of a fight. even if we feel it can be a tough one, because who knows, we may manage to change the equations at one point of time. Which is why they had put up a Rudranil Ghosh, who they thought was a strong candidate, thinking at that point of time that Mamata Banerjee may be contesting from Bhawanipur. Going back to the similar question whether it's going to be a prestige battle, I'm seeing those reactions. Most of them are actually making the same point which I am making, which is that she may win, but she can never live down the fact that she lost in Nandigram, which was actually the genesis of Mamata Banerjee's brand of politics. To that extent, I would say Bhabanipur is not such a high prestige or a high stakes battle for her. She won a small agenda in the sense because the Trinamool Congress has been blaming the BJP and the Election Commission for actually doing what the centre, the BJP asked them to do, which means postponing elections or postponing those bypolls. She has time till November by which she needs to be re-elected. So now it's not going to be much of an issue. Elections are taking place on 30th of September in Bhawanipur, and therefore it's going to be a win-win for her. But what does it mean? It means that at the end of the day, and certainly the BJP is going to keep on making this point as the Trinamool Congress and Mamata Banerjee gear up for a larger battle, which is for 2024, and with a massive expansion plan that, look, when it came to your backyard and your stronghold Nandigram, you never won. So therefore, if you think that the TMC is invincible, that is not really correct. But more than Bhawanipur, now the focus is also going to shift to Tripura, because there the Trinamool Congress's calculations is that the growing unpopularity of the sitting Chief Minister Biplab Dev, second, an angry Bengali population, and also the fact that you have an aggressive Sushmita Dev or Abhishek Banerjee, who are clearly going to be the faces of the TMC in Tripura, are going to be used as the next battleground or a face-off between the BJP and the TMC. And I would say, in comparison to Bhawanipur, Tripura actually is going to be the more high-stakes battle. But Mamata Banerjee is known for her drama. She's certainly going to make a big show and issue of it. Like, for example, recently, she was just crossing through Bhawanipur on her way back from work when she was going back home, because her home is not too far away and obviously it's very much there. She gets down from her car, she meets up with the party workers, and in fact, the party workers rejoice and saying that this is a homecoming for her. She should have never actually given up on Bhabanipur. In fact, I remember I was there during the West Bengal elections, and many people, and I spoke to in Bhawanipur, said that they are upset with her that this was a seat which always got her back to the CM post. Why did she abandon this seat? She could have contested from here as well as from Nandigram, and perhaps possibly even won Nandigram, because what she did was that she alienated some of the voters in Bhawanipur, but at the same time many in Nandigram accepted the BJP's perception or the narrative that she was coming over here only to prove a point and she's going to go away. She's going to be an outsider or a non-resident MLA from there. But the margin of victory for Suvendu Adhikari has been largely slim. So I don't think the TMC or the Mamata Banerjee are going to let Suvendu Adhikari get away with that kind of a narrative. But as far as the seat of Bhawanipur is concerned, it's always been seen as a CM seat. To abandon that and give it to Suvendu Chattopadhyay, her handpicked, and then he steps down as an MLA, most probably he's going to be made an MLC, somehow it jars. And somehow this is going to be used by her political opponents and the BJP to make the point that, look, Mamata Banerjee is not invincible. She could be defeated in Nandigram, and therefore she's also some politician who cannot be completely trusted. Her big battle certainly is 2024, and therefore these are the narratives which the BJP is bound to use against her. It was her political compulsion, it's a constitutional compulsion also that she has to win from an MLA seat, and that's exactly what she has done. Therefore, it's going to be interesting to watch what the BJP's campaign strategy is going to be when she's contesting from here. Will they call her someone who's manipulative or someone who's a convenient neta who chose to contest from a traditional seat because she lost out from Nandigram? And how the people of Nandigram and a slice of Bengalis also showed the mirror to Mamata Banerjee. Mind you, the BJP has also equally been attacking the TMC for misusing the state machinery and thereby winning the elections in the states. The battle is not over between the TMC and the BJP as far as West Bengal is concerned. The poll violence issue, the fact that the CBI investigations are on, the fact that an SIT has been set up. BJP is certainly breathing down the neck of Mamata Banerjee as well as the Trinamool Congress. So if you think that this is a battle which is going to be won and completed once she wins from this seat, Certainly not. I would say it has just begun. Watch this space. We are going to be reporting on this. Many more episodes are certainly going to come up because the battle of the road to 2024 may be far off, but it's already have developed certain amount of halchal. Do give in your reactions. Thank you very much for watching. We are going to be back with much more next time. Thank you so much.